All right, so this is the first target question in the week 6 handout. It says, if 5 workers can build 4 houses in 3 days, how long will it take 4 workers to build 3 houses? So we're assuming that all the workers build at a constant rate, and we need to express our answer as a fraction in simplest form. So for this, basically, we're going to be using proportions and the relationship between all of these things, essentially. The first thing we should know is that the more workers, right? So if like workers increases, the time it takes, the number of days, will decrease, right? Because we just have more, power, more people working. Now, on the other hand, if the number of houses increases, the number of days this takes will increase. So that's the relationship between all of this stuff. So knowing that, I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. The first way is kind of a more intuitive way, but it might be confusing. And if that way is confusing, don't worry about it, because there's a more, systematic way coming up later. So in the first case, well, we know we have, in the first time, we have 5 workers, 4 houses. That took 3 days. Now, next, in the second expression, we're looking for how long it'll take 4 workers to build 3 houses. So if we're going from, let's say from 4 houses to 3 houses, well, now we're making 3/4 as many houses. So it's going to take 3/4 as much time because the workers are building at a constant rate. So originally it took 3 days, but now from the worker, from the difference in houses, from it going to 4 houses to 3 houses, it's now going to take 3/4 as long. Except that's not the only thing, because we go from having 5 workers to 4 workers. So similar to how when we went from 4 houses to 3 houses, we're like, oh, that's going to take 3/4 as long. Well, it's the opposite now, because we're going from 5 workers to 4 workers. We have 4/5 as many workers. So because the more workers, the less time it takes, and of course the less workers, the more time it takes, now it's going to take 5/4 as long to build those houses. So multiplying 3 days by 3/4 times 5/4 should give our answer of 45/16. This is how many days it will take. But if that's confusing and that doesn't make sense, I have another way to think about this for you. So let's think of it as the number of workers you have, right, times the number of days you have. Those are directly proportional. That'll give you the more workers you have, the more houses you can build. The more days you have, the more houses you can build. So the number of houses, which will represent as H, is equal to the number of workers times the number of days times some constant K, because it's directly proportional. So K is the amount of houses that each worker can build in a day. So from that first equation, 5 workers can build 4 houses in 3 days. You can say if H is 4 houses equals K times our number of workers, which is 5, times 3 days. So that tells us K equals 4/15. We know that each worker can build 4/15 of a house per day, right? It's H/WD. So now we can use the same equation, the same relationship, for our second house building session. I don't know. We can say we're looking for how long it'll take 4 workers to build 3 houses. So H is 3, K is 4/5, and now 15ths. Now we have 4 workers, and then we're solving for D, the number of days. So we are dividing by 16/15, which means that we're multiplying by its reciprocal. We're multiplying by 15/16 times 3, that's equal to D. So again, we get that it takes 45/16 days to build those houses.